all caught up.
Get ready to ignite your passion for motorcycles as we kickstart another thrilling episode of Wrenchers, Racers, and Riders. Brought to you by Rainier Avenue Radio World. We are your ticket to the dynamic world of motorcycle racing, riding, tech talk right here in the Emerald City. Whether you're a grease-covered guru, a speed-hungry junkie, or a wordsmith weaving tales of two-wheeled adventures, this is your tribe. From grip and racetrack stories to the art of bike customization, we are your one-stop shop for all things motorcycle. So rev those engines. Let the journey begin right here on WRW. Got to shout out our people, Rider of the Week. And of course, please, audience, drop your nominations, okay? Drop your nominations for Rider of the Week on either Facebook or Instagram at Wrenchers, Racers, and Riders. Or you can drop it right here in the show notes, or in the comments on YouTube, all right? Nominate somebody who's doing amazing things in the world of motorcycling. They could be a salesman. They could be a mechanic. They can be a youngin' that's out there popping wheelies like shout out Baby D Blocks. Been doing it since he's 3. So let's get these people some shine. Let's get them awards. And of course, those awards are going to come first from us. But this week, I got to give it up to my man, Jeff. My kickstand gave me some grief. My KTM kickstand gave me some grief. I just got the bike out of the shop. And if you know how it feels to put your baby in the shop and then wait oh so patiently as they tell you why it's taking so long, and then you get your bike back and then immediately what you got fixed broke, it's not a good feeling, y'all. So as I lay my face on the tank in prayer, I said, okay, it's all right. We're going to scoop up the kickstand. We'll tuck it into the fairing. And I put my motorcycle on the sidewalk. And luckily, I was super close to the house. Okay, so I was right in front of it. I was actually just going to run inside, go grab my laptop charger, head back to the house. That didn't happen. Spoiler alert. But I got to the, as I was heading around on the sidewalk to the garage, a Ducati pulls up. And of course you get that organic slow down and the look over. And I wish I could have gave my man a smile and a, hey, how you doing? And let's talk later. But of course he stopped, dropped his kickstand and walked over and asked what was going on. And if you have ridden two wheels, you know this feeling. If you haven't, if there's a reason that should get you on a bike, it is that. The community is strong. We care about one another. And that is really important in any form of recreation that you take part in, is to know that when you're out there and you're doing it, the people that are doing it with you are going to be there for you. That's really important, So I want to introduce our guest today. We got a good one. All right. I got the Night Rider Sport Bike Classic tee from the 90s. So of course I had to have a trailblazer in the booth today. So we got Phoenix on deck. And you're going to hear about Phoenix's story, about how she has made the 5 A's of coming into the world of motorcycling, an easy, breezy, but also lesson-packed journey. And, she's also going to give in a little bit of info on this tech talk, because when you come into the world of motorcycling, you learn. Isn't that right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Phoenix. I'm blessed to be here. Thank you, Zeke, for taking the time out to bring me on your show. Super excited. Man, I don't know. I'm an open book. I flow like a river once I get going. So let's do it. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Throttle's open, y'all. And of course, we're listening right here on Rainier Avenue Radio World, right? Where we got all the spins, all the shows, and all the events to keep you in the community tapped in. So weekly tech talk, we're going to have this every week. I'm going to change it around often, of course, but first things first, what is important when you are a new rider? Question to Phoenix.
Above all else, gear is the most important thing coming into this world of riding. I always call it a lifestyle because that's what riding is. It's a lifestyle. It's a commitment. I know everybody, if you've never been on two wheels, if you're contemplating it, we always say take the MSF course.
Yes.
One of the things they tell you in order to take the course, you got to have at minimum helmet, gloves, long pants, and closed-toed shoes.
Yep.
The helmet for me was one of the most important things. I'm not gonna lie, I was at one point one of those people like, I'm getting a helmet because I like the way it looks. Reality hit though. Coming on two wheels, I found out my body is uniquely made, like we all are, right? I think one of the biggest challenges I had was finding a helmet that fit. I always thought, oh, you could just pop on a lid and just go, right? Everybody else does it. They make it seem easy. That was not the case with me. I am one of those rare head types. I'm a long oval. So my choices for helmets are few and far between. I am stuck in the world of Arai, which is not bad. I love Arai helmets. It was my first helmet that I have. I still have it till this day. It sits on a shelf because it's a little low. But it was one of those things where I was like, okay, time to find my gear. When I first started out, I had a Scorpion and I was like, oh, my forehead hurts. Like, I was like, what the heck is going on? And getting with someone that knows gear, getting with, like, I would say, talk to anybody and everybody, not just the shops. What helped me was actually a fellow rider. Because I went into the shop and they were like, well, maybe it's just too small. And I'm like, nah, it's more than that. Something else is going on. And I didn't know until I talked to a fellow rider. They were like, well, you probably have the helmet. You've got the wrong shape head. And I'm like, what?
What?
And they were like, yeah,
Shape?
no, there's different shapes. And I'm like, what? What do you mean there's different shapes? So I started off with the Scorpion EXO because, again, I was going for looks and it had the drop-down visor.
That's right.
And it was like fluorescent green and white. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. He was like, yeah, but it's not your helmet. It's not going to work. So he was kind enough to go with me into the shop. And I got an education on helmet and head shape. And so did the person that was actually doing it. One of the things I've come to learn is I know people, they come in, they work at motorcycle stores, but they're just like you and I, right? They might just have a small sliver of the experience of the world of riding.
That's right.
And so this gentleman that had been on bikes longer than I've been walking was just like, yeah, no, so let me school you. This is what she's up against. It's she's having pressure points or, you know, and it's going across her forehead. So this is the wrong shape. What do you have? She looks like she's a long oval. And I'm like, what do you mean a long oval?
How did you spot that?
Like, because I mean, at the time I had short hair, like my locks were super duper short.
Oh, okay.
So it was easier for you to see like the natural shape of my head. And he was like, oh, well, try this Arai Signet. And I was like, those are expensive. I don't. I'm just coming into this like
don't even tell me about the Quantum,
right? Like I just signed up for the course. What are you talking about? Like. But it was one of those things where you put it on, it was like, it just fit. It just fit. And I'm like, the one thing they tell you is do the helmet test. Walk around with it in the shop. Like walk around for like 10, 15 minutes because sometimes that pressure point creeps up on you. When I tried that Signet on, it was just like, oh yeah. Oh, it was just like, it's my second skin.
Oh, I love that.
And that's what I look for, like in my helmets. Like I need it to be that I need it to be light. I need it to fit all my needs. Yeah, I might miss, like it may not be the most stylish helmet because I don't know if anybody's having a Arai helmet, especially the Signets. They are not very graphic. They're just, you got black, you got white, you got sparkly white, and you got the
ones that are pretty pricey.
And that part, and then they
Close
don't fit me, right? They they're coming in at like 1,200.
Yeah, they are.
You got to save up for these.
Absolutely, they are an investment.
I will tell you, having a helmet that fits makes your ride so much better.
Oh man,
I will also say this, me not wanting to be, I don't do well with confinement. So I will also say, even though they tell you, hey, you're this shape, explore your world, like explore the world of helmets. There's not just Arai, but there's AVG. I've got an AVG helmet, which I didn't think would work, but for me, since I sized up, my pressure points were taken away. Sometimes it takes changing out the innards to get the cheek pads, because I also have, oh my God, I got like 7 helmets.
Whoa. Whoa. And we thought some guys had an issue with how many ball caps they had.
Well, I want to tell you
These are helmets.
These are helmets, right? But the girl in me is like, I gotta have a helmet to match
for every
my
occasion.
outfit.
I got you. I got you on that one.
So I'm like, I've got my favorite one. Like my favorite one right now. It's a multicolored one, and it was a hard to find one. Let me see. It is called, I'm gonna mess this one up. I know I am. It is the, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? I'm gonna cheat. Can I cheat?
Give me a clue.
Okay, so it's got like these. It's green. It's what the base is white, and it's got like all these different characters, and it's blue, green. It's by HJC.
Okay.
I can't think of the name of this helmet. I bought it.
I know the ARFA has some pretty good designs.
I have an ARFA, but my ARFAs are black and white and red. They are all
okay.
But I cannot think of the name of this guy. But I tell you, I was watching this helmet when it first came on the market, and I automatically counted myself out, because when I looked, it was like, oh, intermediate oval.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh well,
it
was a pain in the butt.
Pain.
And then it was on sale. So I went into Psycho Gear, the one that was in Seattle. They're closed now.
Yeah,
but
they are.
I went in and they're like, hey, this is on sale. And I was like, I really wanted that helmet. And he was like, just try it. And I was like, nah, man, I'm already knowing it's not gonna fit.
Not gonna work.
It's just, we've been on this road. I've been brokenhearted. Like, I just keep hearing Brandy's song, Brokenhearted. I'm like, you're gonna set me up and I'm gonna go home crying.
Classic.
He goes, well, have you tried sizing up? And I'm like, no, I'd never tried sizing up. And he was like, try sizing up. So the vain part of me was like, there's no way in the world I'm going to have a large helmet in my repertoire of helmets when all of my helmets have been small and medium.
Yep.
Tried the large on it, fit like a glove. So I will say this, when somebody tells you, hey, you're just this size and just this manufacturer works with you, I think try sizing up, try sizing, down, try changing out your innards, because there are ways to make helmets fit.
That is
now,
true.
I was lucky, right? Because, it worked.
Yes.
But sometimes you may not be able to, it may not work for you.
That's right.
But don't give up. That's my biggest thing. When it comes to your helmet, don't give up. Everybody has a reason as to why they buy their helmets. But above all else, if it doesn't properly fit, it's not worth it. Like, there's so many helmets I had to let go because it just didn't fit. I don't want to ride around here having the headache out of all worlds, right? Because it's too many pressure points. But I don't want to ride around here, and if I pull down left or right, it's gonna wobble, right? I don't want the weeble wobbles, right?
No way.
So but it's one of the most important things that you can do. I mean, everybody can go. You can go without pants. Let's be honest. I've ridden without riding pants before. I've been ridden in my regular tennis shoes. Hell, I hate to say this, but I've been ridden without a jacket because it just gets too hot. But the one thing I will not ride without a lid.
I know that's right.
I will not. And that's the biggest thing that I can push for anybody. Lid shopping is one of the best things ever.
It really is.
Outside the fact I get to spend money.
It really is, right? And take something home in a big box.
Yes.
And there's a bag around my product on the inside.
My gosh.
It's the inside fashion designer.
Yes.
It's the inner fashion world about me. But
I love it. And then I got introduced to the world, and I haven't jumped in this pool yet, but personalizing your helmets.
Oh.
Where you can get your own personal graphics put on.
Like a wrap?
Yeah, there's a wrap. There's people that do, like, they'll get the plain black or white helmets, and they'll do like the rhinestones. This lady had a helmet full of rhinestones.
I see.
There's different websites out there that will actually do like a Ninja Turtles graphic.
Oh, the service for you.
Yeah.
Please do share. Yes. Please.
I'll send
drop
you the
those
link
links
at
for
the
me.
end.
Yeah.
But they're not cheap. But that's my next goal. Is like, I have 7 or 8 helmets. I want my number 10 helmet to be one designed for me. Right. I already got.
Did you hear that, audience? She said her number 10 helmet, and she only has 7.
I only have 7. I got a couple more.
There's at least 3 more purchases.
Yes. I'm looking at right now what I have in my cart, and I'm looking. I have to go try it on. Is it the AVG Forgiato Italiano? It's red, black, and gold.
Oh, I haven't seen this model. I'm gonna have to pull it up, y'all. Oh, tell us more about it.
Man, it looks like it fits my head, but looks can be deceiving. It's got a narrow fit. It's a race-ready helmet. I think it's RREC 220, I think. But it's, again, the AVG Forgiato Carbonito helmet. This thing is bad.
Oh man.
When I felt like I really felt like that Black Panther-esque, that's how I felt when I seen it. But again, I tread lightly, right? Because I'm like that intermediate oval, they can mostly fit it, but those long ovals, man, you be like, man, my feelings are hurt. But that's next on my list, and that is not cheap. It runs about.
Helmets really aren't cheap.
They're not, but it's again the best financial investment you'll make in this lifestyle.
100%.
So if you're gonna go all out on your lid. Please do. If I could say anything, people will say, "Oh, you spent $600 on your first helmet." Yeah. 100%. Because
absolutely.
Your brain, like I work at a hospital, so your brain is like a freaking, compare it to a watermelon.
Yes.
You want to protect that.
It's a very good comparison.
You want to protect that.
Yeah.
Watermelon versus concrete.
It's not a good match. No. You know who to put your bet on.
Everybody will be like, jacket's important, but above all else, like I have no problem dropping 6, 7, 8, 9, moving to the commas.
Hello.
Without hesitation, right?
Yeah.
Because it's worth it.
Yes.
It's worth it. It's one of the things that will save you. Your skin can be regenerated.
That's right.
Your brain is one of those things where it has a mind of its own. So,
no pun intended.
Protect your head at all times.
That's right.
That's like the biggest thing. Learn your head shape. I think I was telling you before we got on that.
Yep.
Coming into the life of writing, I learned so much about my body.
Yes.
How uniquely and wonderfully made
Yeah.
I am, and you are.
And you are.
And you are. It's one of those things where like, I'm just a normal person. I just want to go ride and do. But it's an art to this. It's an art to
it really is.
Your helmet sizing. It's an art to your body structure. Like another topic later on another show, if you'll have me, is finding the right gear, right? Finding the right jacket. Helmet is first and foremost. Don't go anywhere without finding the right helmet. But you'll come to learn, and like I come to learn that when it comes to gear, you want that right fit. You want to, like Ace Ventura says, have it fit like a glove.
Yes.
I'm not going to do the voice.
To be comfortable.
But you want to be comfortable in what you're writing, because you got to make sure that your mental is focusing on your surroundings. Yes. And if you've got pressure points, if your lid's going back and forth on you, if it's too heavy, if you've got blind spots because it's too small in a certain area, that can take away from your experience.
Absolutely. Take away from your awareness, take away from your safety, and a big takeaway there is no brain transplants happening right now.
That part.
Okay. There are, a lot of different gear is going to do a lot of the same things. Leather is leather. It can be made, the stitching portions and the thickness of the leather, which are things that you can feel inside of the shop. But that is where you're going to get a higher or lower quality, right? Not the detail of the stitching, but the quality of the stitching, how durable it is in leather is going to be really important. But even non-leather protective equipment, when you're sliding down the road, there are many tests out there that test jeans versus what you have, like more of a Gore-Tex field shear material, and then you go into a leather. And as we go up that scale respectively, you will see that they have a longer duration when dragged across asphalt over a certain period of time at a certain speed. Your skin is at the bottom tier of that, which means as soon as it hits pavement, it's going to break, and then bad things are going to happen after that. When the head hits the concrete, it is very bad. Mm-hmm. So though you may see a shell that is called a helmet, all helmets are not made the same. Okay. So I am, I guess I will claim it until the end. I am at GAT until the end. I mean, you see the Knight Rider sport bike shirt. This is, we are trying to make it there and back. Yes. And it is so important to me. I mean, I've ridden in, 113 degree weather, and I have always thought about physics and about science of, I'm really hot right now. Like I'm hot, I'm perspiring, I'm so soaked right now. But if I come around this corner that I really like going around, and I know this corner and I know my bike, but the person driving the car or the semi doesn't, or even another motorcycle rider that is not skilled or is dodging an object in the road in their path, it can be these times 10,000 different scenarios that cause me to have to react differently or not have any chance to react, and therefore I'm in an accident. Now, to me, and this is just my mind, you know, this is how I am calculating the equation, but the heat from the sun, if it's 110 degrees outside, or the amount of heat generated from my skin creating friction with the asphalt, I'm going to take the sweat and the extra shower when I get home. And that's just me. But I encourage all of you to find gear that works for you. First and foremost, find that helmet, right? So you're either going to be a intermediate oval, a round oval, or long oval. And those are just what it sounds like. Draw an oval and then try to draw different shapes in there. Okay, you're going to be able to find these diagrams very easily on the interwebs. Okay, and they will be extremely, extremely beneficial in guiding you to making the right choice, to go into the purchasing experience able to speak the language. And when you're able to speak that language, it's easier for you to get what you want out of the process. Okay,
Agreed.
So please do your research. Understand that, again, every helmet is not made the same. It looks the same. They have visors, right? And there's different styles of helmets. You have the old school cop helmet, you know, the half cap. I don't recommend it. It's a lot of your very, very vital portions exposed, right? Who's trying to get a mandibular transplant? Yeah. How about sewing somebody's jaw on your jaw? I don't think so. And then you also have the 3/4, which is now protecting the jaw, but still has the front of your face very exposed. And again, that is very soft tissue. Lips, teeth, not tissue, but they connect to the gums, which are not, which are wrapped around bone. So again, once that's broken, once that's caved in, it's very difficult to come back from that. Now, we also have full face helmets. Okay. And this is what I recommend, but you're going to want to make the decision. Do you want a modular helmet or non-modular helmet? To me, I'm always going to go with the non-modular. My point is, when you have joints or pivot points where there's movement happening within the hardware or the structure of the lid, when I hit the ground, and we never want to crash, but we have to be aware that we can hit the ground. So if I hit the ground, I don't want there to be a single point on my helmet that can be a weak point, right? That portion where the screw goes in that creates the gear motion to flip the front of my face up, if that happens to fail or be compromised, then looks like the front of that modular helmet is off and my face is now creating friction on the concrete, right? So it's a bit of a conundrum that I think I can avoid by getting a full face helmet.
I'm 110%
right?
full face. Well, again, I was kind of wedged into the full face because the modular helmets are not very long oval friendly.
Oh, see, we are getting a lot of wisdom here from Phoenix.
I have not. So as somebody who has been hit on a bike, I was at a stand. This is the thing. We talk a lot about crashes, and usually it's assumed that we're in motion. The only time that I've been down was when I was not in motion. I was actually coming off the off ramp, Albro Swift in South Seattle. And if you don't know about it, it's a curve. They have
uphill.
And uphill, but it's a steep curve. And you can hear it, but you can't see it. And for years, people just fly off of there.
And quite blind. That is the other portion.
It is a blind corner
for a long portion of the corner.
I will tell you this. What saved me outside of my gear was my helmet. I was sitting there at the light, and you hear the cars, but you can hear when a car comes up. This is before, and it's on. I'm like, this car is not slowing down, but I had, it was either rolling oncoming traffic because it's two ways. I couldn't make my turn because there were cars already coming across, and before I knew it, I was just like, he's gonna, and then bam, I just got hit. Well, I wasn't hurt. Had I not had a helmet on, my head would have been in his windshield. Unfortunately, his windshield was more damaged than my helmet.
Can you see why it's important to have the quality helmet? Now, y'all, I know you understand how important it is to protect your head. But why should we protect our head? Because we got aspirations, right?
Yeah,
so that's just a little bit of a sprinkle of our show topic. But first, we got to take a break. And we're going to let you get some good news from Rainier Avenue Radio.world. We'll be right back with you. Rainier Avenue Radio.
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. This program offers healthcare, housing, transportation, and recreational activities. There are no co-pays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep you healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
What's going on, world? It's your boy OG Mambo
And your guy D Money. Join us along with Pint Size Patron and ID Yourself
here on Fresh Juice at Rainier Avenue Radio
every Wednesday hump day from 9 to 11 Pacific.
Get exclusive interviews from your favorite artists, all the hottest music, and updates on what we got going on in the world.
That's every Wednesday, 9 to 11 p.m. on Seattle's Rainier Avenue Radio.
Love food? Here's some storage tips to keep it fresh longer. Store cut fruits and vegetables in the fridge. Place in reusable containers. Keep bread in the freezer for longer storage. 40% of food in the U.S. goes uneaten. Save money, save food, save the planet. Visit Seattle Public Utilities for more tips.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not stopping a Mercer Island street brawl, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Welcome back to WRW. We got our guest Phoenix in the booth with us right now, live. Rainier Avenue Radio.world. I hope y'all are tapped in. If you've missed the first part of the show, it's all good. You can find the recording on the site. We got that for you. But just to give a quick wrap, be sure to nominate your Writer of the Week. It's important for you to get them out there. Now, we talked about helmets. We talked about the importance of the helmet because the bottom line is there is no brain transplant, right? So we want to protect that which we cannot replace, okay? Now, there are some different standards that are legally required for certain helmet manufacturers to sell a helmet, right? So this is the structural test. Can this helmet bear a force put upon it, therefore it can be sold. So you want to make sure that you are at least seeing that DOT rating. But I also, because this is a process that is going to, as Phoenix has said multiple times, help you learn about your body as you learn about your bike and this new lifestyle, right? So as you learn about your body, be aware that your head, when you're protecting it, when you have these different standards of ECE, and these are going to be the acronyms, all these acronymated different ways of saying this helmet is better than the other, right? When you have the DOT, the ECE, the Snell rating, the FIM rating, all of these are going to allow you to have a different level of security when you go out and about, right? If you're doing adventure riding, you may fall onto a surface that is jagged, boulders, rocks, and different sorts like that. So the impact upon your crown is going to be different than if you were to fall off on a low side. So that is when the front end tucks. So it's usually the bike falls and you fall to the same side. When that happens, if you hit your helmet on the ground, usually the asphalt is very smooth, or at least much smoother than what we expect on an adventure road or a fire access road, right? So imagine those different types of objects striking the helmet. These are the different tests that are put forth by these anvils, as they're known. Yeah, the same that you strike, a nail. That sort of action is happening with the helmet. And would you really want anything less than that when you're testing a lid? So that is what you're going to get. Make sure that you look into those. If you're doing some higher speed sports, if you're out there with the boys and girls doing your thing at high speeds, high RPMs, high lean, then invest in that FIM lid. Okay, it's going to be very important with that Snell lid because it has different impact points and it's hit multiple times, whereas your DOT, your ECE are going to be less rigorous, but still trustworthy to a point. All right. So do your homework, be compassionately curious about yourself, and I promise you, you will feel good about your decision once you make it. But all of that tech rigmarole out the window, let's talk about the show. Okay. Yes. And like I said, we got a new rider, right? Well, not new, but I feel fresh in their rider experience, that it is a perfect jar full of wisdom for anyone out there who is just getting into the world, right? Yeah. So, quick backstory. How did I meet this amazing human, right? So for a while, I would be taking laps around my neighborhood, just trying to ease my mind, get my legs moving, and I would see this beautiful all-white Ducati, and I'm just like, man, I love that bike. Where's the owner? Because if you're a motorcyclist and you see a bike, you're like, where's the person that rides this bike? I want to see the style, the aesthetic, the attitude of this person. Does it fit the bike? Does it? And then when I finally meet this human, not only did her aesthetic fit the bike, but she had the whole encyclopedic breakdown of why her bike was named Neo, how it became the Trinity. I was like, okay, yeah, this is perfect. So now we're here, right? Now we're here, and we're going to talk about the 5 A's of getting into the motorcycling world, right? And the 5 A's are aspirations. We all got to start somewhere. What is our goal? What do we want out of something? And in this case, motorcycling. What activities will we engage in order to achieve that aspiration? Because with dreams, they can become true if we put in the work for them. Yes. It's important to gather our assets as well, like that helmet, right? It's a good asset because this brain is an asset and we want to protect that asset. And then acquaintances. Multiple times earlier in the episode, we heard from Phoenix, hearing, receiving, yielding, harnessing the advice of those who had more experience and education in areas that she didn't. So please be aware that not just a slice of the humble pie will need to be eaten when you jump into this lane, but you may have to bake your own and share that out a few times. And then finally, because nothing can ever be successful or sustainable, proper S's, unless you can assess it. Yes. So assess those 4 areas so that you can revamp, remodel, and move forward under new aspirations and new pastures. So we have some questions that are going to try and crack that egg open for Phoenix. And the first one, of course, is because we're born with 2 legs, but not 2 wheels. So how did you get on 2 wheels?
Oh my gosh. Really, like everybody else, there was a rider and there was a bike. And I don't know, I think every rider can identify with this. When you hear the sound of that and there's something inside of you that goes, So I was, oh my gosh, I had to be about 18 or 19. I'm up there. I'm 38. I'm not even gonna, I have no shame in my game.
Hey,
I'm good.
No
so
shame.
this story I had to
shame.
dig a little bit, right? So I was about 18 or 19. My aunt was dating a gentleman at the time who actually rode. Until this time, I mean, you would see motorcycles in movies, and I'm like, I think I kind of want to do that. Like, it's just something about it. It's different. And I'm the most extroverted introvert you want to meet, if that makes sense. I'm really to myself. I'm like, I was a nerd. I was a book nerd even then, right? So my aunt was dating this dude who happened to be a part of a motorcycle club that I didn't know at the time. But he pulls up back then on the fastest motorcycle that was manufactured at the time.
Drum roll, please.
The Suzuki Hayabusa 1300. Yes. And the sound of this bike when he pulled up, I was like, oh my gosh. And it was super cool. And mind you, I had seen him before, so I already knew he was a Black man, but I've never seen another Black human being on a motorcycle. It was just not something that I've seen. And I was like, yo, that's real cool. And he was like, hey, you're interested? And I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm just like as giddy as I can be. So he takes me around, walks me around the bike, and he takes me on the back of it. And I was just like, called it being young and just fancy free, but I wasn't scared. And that was the first thing that was like, this might be for me. Yeah. The fact that I was on the back of a machine that can go 0 to right? Can go 0 to 60 in under what I think was like 6 seconds. I know it was shorter than that.
Way shorter.
But I was like, oh my God. And I wasn't scared. And then we go around a couple times, and he comes back to visit a couple times. And one time he goes, you want to ride? I'm like, sure, why not? Yeah. I'm like, I'm still young. I've been on the back a couple times, so he shows me all the gears and stuff. And he, just like, take it easy. And where I lived at, if you went down the hill, you're automatically on the freeway. Like, it was a light and then the freeway. And if you went up the hill, it was just like the city streets. It's, and I was just like, okay. So I got comfortable, and I was like, all right. I was like, can I go for a ride? He was like, I said, can I take her on the block? He was like, yeah. He was like, you remember how to downshift and everything and upshift? I'm like, yeah, I remember that. And I showed him, and I was like, okay. So I took her on the block, and I was like, ooh, yeah, it was good. And he goes, I said, can I take it on the freeway? Which was just down the street. I was like, I just want to go. I just want to go one exit, right? So he goes, yeah. He was like, the only thing I'm going to tell you is you need to tuck down when you get there and just be careful. So I get to the light, and I got to the light where the freeway entrance sat. And at first I was like, okay, well, shit, I can't, excuse my language. I was like, well, I can't back out now. And so I was like, I'm going to take it slow. So I get on the freeway, and you can feel it. The bike is just like, no, we're slow. Yeah. Slow speed is not it. And so I promise you, I enter the freeway. Before I can even get to the next exit, I look down, and I don't even realize it, but I'm going damn near 100 miles per hour. Just like that. And I was only in gear number 2. Yeah. And I don't know if it was just poor riding experience, but I was like, I felt like I should have been higher. But, it didn't do one of those, that, hey, I need to switch. But it was so smooth. And from that moment, I just fell in love with just riding. And it was a combination of stuff. It was that feeling like, not that I was invincible, but that there was a higher power, if that makes sense. Something else. Because I was just like, this is just, because it was stupid. I have no license. I'm like, I'm on the freaking fastest bike known to man.
We're crazy, but we can.
But we, But it was the most exhilarating experience, but the most humbling experience too, because when I came back and I told him the story, he was like, so how'd you do? And I was like, well, I did good because I came back. Your bike's in one piece. Right. And he was like, how fast did you go? I was like, I looked down and it said 100. He was like, okay. And then we had the conversation of safety, right?
Absolutely.
What does that look like?
See?
You know? So that started my passion for it. And I remember sitting there one day and that same night, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to ride. And it wasn't for nothing else other than the ability to have control over my life.
Whoa.
As an introvert, I spent a lot of time wondering about what other people thought. I have a twin brother, so we're total opposites. My brother's an extrovert. He's a socialite, right? And then as the twin sister, even though I'm the oldest one, I got a lot of, hey, no, this is what you should do. Hey, you don't need to do that. Hey, you would be better at doing this. So I never really got to speak up for myself.
Not awesome.
But being on two wheels for the first time made me feel like I was in charge of my life. This is all me. Like it's me and the machine does what I want it to do. And it wasn't a control thing. It was just being able to yield to something more powerful than me, but being able to push those boundaries of I can do more.
Hold up. Are y'all, I mean, did y'all hear what I think? And I'm gonna pose the question to you now, because I mean, you're blending this right into the activities. Was that your Phoenix moment?
That was part of my Phoenix moment.
Okay, because it sounded like overcoming that childhood cage or protective barrier that our family members so often try to do for us. Coming out of that, having an experience that was ignited by this powerful machine that we don't fully understand yet, but understand that it has done something for us. Yes. As she opened the throttle, it opened up something inside of her. Can you tell us more about how you started to plod down that pathway of no longer having someone else's bike and saying, you know what, this works for me. Yeah, I'm going to do this now.
So I'm a by the rules type of person.
Absolutely.
So the next thing I was like, what do I have to do to get on two?
Yeah.
He was like, first of all, you got to get your license.
Yep.
So that event happened in the summer, September of that same year. I went and got my license. And this was my Phoenix moment. Everybody knows that the average rider, if you're not as confident, you tend to shy away from adverse weather.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
So started off back when I took my course, and I sound old, but back in my day, back when I took my course, it was a 3-day course. You start on a Friday, and on that Sunday, you end with your endorsement. So all you had to do was go into the DMV and get the endorsement put on your license. Can't do that now, though. But this is not to it's not to discourage you. It just takes a little bit more.
Very true.
But that Friday I went in, it was sunny. You know, we were in the classroom. Saturday we came in, it was sunny. And then we did half classroom, half range. Sunday, all range and testing. Sunday, it's raining, not pouring down rain, but it's raining.
Rain day.
Nobody, including myself, for my class, had ever ridden in the rain.
Oh,
they were like, okay, so
serious.
This is the moment of truth.
That is very
Mind you, these bikes are like 125. They're not high CC bikes.
Yeah,
but it's
heavy.
a different. Yeah, it's a different responsibility, a different aspect of riding.
True.
You know, in the rain, because you're thinking about tread, you're thinking about grip, you're thinking about traction, you're thinking about all these factors that you don't normally have to endure when it's the summertime. So
or when you're caging.
Or when you're caging. When you're caging. So we're out there, and there were a couple of the class members like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to wait, and I'm going to take next week. Because back in that day, you can push your course to another weekend. So if you didn't finish, you could be like, I want to wait. I passed my written. I want to wait until it comes back, and I'm going to return. And he was like, so what about you? Are you going to back out? Or are you going to wait for the weekend? I said, you know what? I already know that I can operate a motorcycle. Shit, I operated a Busa. So that's not the problem. I'm going to try it in the rain. Why not? What do I have to lose? I was like, one or two things are going to happen. I'm either going to pass this thing or I'm going to fail. And if I fail, I come back.
And get to retake it.
and get to retake it. Mind you, so I took the test and I passed. Not only did I pass, I aced that thing in the rain.
In the rain, y'all.
Man, and this is before I knew anything about visors or the whole anti-fog.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
Now they have rain X that you
Fog
can,
City.
Yeah, I didn't have any of that.
Are you serious?
No. So
she was out there like a 1980 Formula One driver.
Not only the inside of my visor is fogged to hell. The raindrop is coming down, so I flipped my visor up, and he was like, "Man, you got 2 more things you got to do." He's like, "You ace the other ones, but you got to get through. You've got to get through the serpentine.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got to get through that, and you've got to get through your box.
Yep.
Okay, so I popped that visor up, and I execute perfect, and I was like, I'm made for this. That's when my Phoenix started rising. When I was like, yo, not only did I want to say I controlled, because I didn't master. I controlled one of the fastest bikes on land at that time, but I aced my freaking test. First time out the gate in the rain, never before riding. So I was like, oh, this is for me.
Yo.
This is it.
Yo.
And I was unstoppable then. That December, I got my first bike. And this set the pathway for me. I truly believe, and because I've done it, I truly believe that when you're entering this world of riding, when you're entering this lifestyle, and this is just for me, I'm only speaking for me. Everybody comes across how they want to. You want to finance your bike. But I've never financed any of the machines I've had. Again, it's that control for me. So my very first bike, it wasn't anything grand. It was a Kawasaki Ninja 250. It was cherry red. I love this thing. First bike. It was cherry red, and it had like lights on the bottom. And I got it at the time. It was an Auburn. I forget. A Henshaw's Honda was what it was called.
Been there for a while.
I went in on Friday, February 13th. I only remember the day because this was my Valentine's Day gift to me. February 13th of 2015. I went in. I seen the bike. I was like, oh, that's nice. They didn't offer test rides at the time. This person, they didn't offer.
That is odd.
But only because they had just gotten the bike in like a couple days back. So it's like, oh, we've got to put it through everything, and before we can get it, all set to go, and we want to be able to advertise it. And I was like, but I want that bike. I want that one.
Oh, it had set in.
Yeah. So I was like, what's the price? And he was like, oh, and he gave me the price. He was like, are you going to finance? I was like, no, I want the bike, and I want it cash. I came back Valentine's Day, put down my money, and I rode off. And I was just like, this was the best feeling ever. And it brought back to me that experience of, man, I'm right now, I'm the only person in my entire family, and I don't have a small family. I'm the only person that rides in my entire family. So I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it my way. This is my taking control of me. This is my showing up and showing into the world moment. That's what riding does for me. It shows me my flaws and all. And it's one of those things that with all the adversity that I have endured from the moment I came into this world up until I took possession of that 2015 and throughout my second bike and the one I have now, it's always been my showing up. This is me. This is who I am.
Yes.
My bike has always been a reflection, I believe, of who I am.
Yes.
Right. So I just, man, what brought me to it was just that feeling of God put you on this earth for a purpose. My purpose is not your purpose. My purpose is not his purpose. It's my own purpose. So, and we are all divinely made. And so the world of riding, the lifestyle of riding reminds me of that. Every time I go to get a piece of gear, that I'm uniquely and wonderfully made.
Absolutely.
Nothing about me is normal. I kid you not. From the helmet I wear to the boots I put on my feet to the gear I have to wear, everything, no BS, will have to be adjusted or tailored. It's easy for some people to go in and just, I would buy off the rack.
Not me.
Not me. Not I, said the cat. I'm not one of those. So every time I add to my riding lifestyle, every time I pick up a pair of boots, every time I get on that bike, every time I turn that key, reminds me of how much I've been brought through by the grace of God, and that I have so much more to go through. And that Phoenix that is rising has came up out, and those, it's just one of those things where I feel like I'm on fire right now. And I'm that blue Phoenix, because that to me is the most powerful Phoenix ever. If you knew my backstory outside of riding, it comes into the reason why I got the name Phoenix. The stuff that I've endured Neo has been my saving grace. Lil Red, she was my saving grace because it was one of the times.
These are bike names, by the way. If you haven't caught up yet, we name all of our machines.
Lil Red was my first one. Lil Red was my first one. She was my saving grace because I was a mom. My baby was 4 years old. Going on 5. Well, no, she was 5 when I got my first bike.
Oh, that's when I got my first bike at 5.
Hey, I've had people, oh, you can't do this. You're a mom. That's what I get. You're a mom. What about your kids? What about, the
boundaries, the barriers,
that they put on you? I'm just like, no. And for me as a mom, it feels so good not to lie to your kids. So having Lil Red was one of those times I was like, well, no, mommy's going to go and you can't go. And I wasn't lying. She couldn't go. One, because I never learned how to ride 2 up or with another passenger, right? Number 2, she was 5 years old. And number 3, I needed some me time.
All of those are valid.
Man, so being Phoenix, this lifestyle is one where I am unapologetic for caring for myself, for caring for my mental health, for caring for the love of me. It is the one true time outside of prayer that I can connect with God and enjoy the beautiful world that he's placed around us. It is one of those times that I'm just like, no, my phone is off, or if it is on, I'm bumping anything from, I don't know, Snoop Dogg all the way to the Temptations.
She's gonna have to share the playlist with y'all.
So it's just it's that one time that it's just me, the road, and God, and it's my time to just thank him, because as writers, there's no guarantee that you're coming home. It is not for lack of what you do or don't do. It's just you are a small thing in a big world.
That's right.
But how humbling is that? Because even as human beings, we are small things in a big world, and we were put on this earth to enjoy and take note of all the beautiful things that God has. Now you can do that in a car, but then you've got the glass between you and the door and everything else, and the windshield and the radio and the heat. But on the bike, you've got yourself. And the only thing between you and God's concrete is your gear.
That's right. That's right. So every breath, every mile marker, you are praising and thanking and taking it in a different way.
Yes.
Yeah. This has been I know that we're here to talk about engines and racing and tech and all these things, but I really hope that there are the majority of you in the audience today that are taking away things that come from a motorcycle show and can be blended into every aspect of your life to help you achieve your full potential. Because me alone, I am gathering so many different gems and jewels from Phoenix today that are making it easy to be vulnerable with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody else all these things, right? Phoenix is being vulnerable for you right now. She is letting you know that things that she has experienced are most likely things that a lot of us have experienced, not for the better or for the worse, but it is something that has happened on our pathway, and perhaps it can help us move forward with great progress, right? So I really, we could talk forever.
Oh, yeah.
And we are definitely going to have you come back. I'm thinking a seasonal appearance. I don't think the people would be too mad about that. Every other
take you along the journey.
I think that would be cool. Yeah.
Take you along the journey.
When we talk about assets, right? And this is the last question of the show. When we talk about assets, we usually think about this hard piece of property that we have, right?
Yeah.
And you spoke about that. Yeah. And you gathered that asset, right? And you've spoken about the acquaintances.
Yes.
You even touched on that in how that was the inspiration to make you aspire to get in Lil Red, right?
Yes.
And perhaps I already have to see how perfect this is. And this is how 2 wheels work. So if you don't have 2 wheels, go get it, because life becomes so simple after that. We'll have you on next episode to talk about assessment and moving into the next riding season. I think that'll be very beneficial for them to hear about how you assessed all these areas. So as far as your assets, when you close the visor, when you turn the key in the ignition, and when you release the clutch, how is that an asset to you? How does that fulfill you?
So to me, those are reminders that no matter what I've gone through, no matter where I've been, I'm always in control of my emotions. I'm always in control of self. Closing that visor, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I've had my license for almost 10 years. I've been on two wheels for almost just as long, but there's never a moment that I don't, every single time I do that in exact that order, there's always that little butterfly that says, you may not want to do this. But on the other side of that is, why should I fear?
Right.
For someone greater is with me.
Right.
And I can't express it enough, for me, the importance of building that relationship with myself.
Sure.
It just makes me, it reminds me of how, let me see, how mortal I am.
Because we all are.
Yeah. It reminds me of how mortal I am, but also reminds me of the gifts that I have. I have greater gifts to give to this world through my children, through myself.
That's right.
And I got to be there to see it. But that also means I've got to be able to balance that love of life, love of God's creation for being able to pass that on to my children.
That's right.
So that, I mean, what that just does is just reminds me that, hey, yes, you are mortal, and yes, you have your limitations, but this is one that you can always push past. This is a limitation that you can always push within your comfortability. Yeah. I never go out without a prayer, and I never go out with just a thank you.
Absolutely.
And that thank you can mean so many things that day.
Absolutely.
But my thank yous are always fulfilled, like big, but just thank you. Thank you for letting me be in the sport. Thank you for letting me be in the lifestyle.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me be in it for as long as you've let me be in it.
That's right.
And thank you for allowing me to live life the way that you see fit for me, because this for me is living. Riding on two wheels for me is living.
Gratitude is the attitude.
Some people find it in different things. This is my drug of choice, if you will.
100%. I've always, since I was a
choice.
child, and there's only a couple of t-shirts that I've seen it on, but you introduce your children to motorcycling at a young age, and they will not choose drugs later on.
This is right.
This is very true.
I'm going to tell you, yeah.
So it sounds like Phoenix has her cup overflowing from the big one upstairs, and now she's getting it refilled when she closes the visor.
Oh, yes.
Please, y'all, let us know what race series y'all want us to cover. Tell us who your rider of the week is. And until next time, this is WRW.